versus the FBI. Tim Cook's company refuses to crack the San Bernardino terrorist shooter's iPhone, which may hold vital information in the case. My next guests are ready to duke it out. Cybersecurity expert and professional hacker David Kennedy sides with Apple, while former member of the FBI Terror Task Force Stephen Rogers says they're being un-American. And on the phone is former federal judge Stephen Larson, the lawyer representing the victims of the San Bernardino terror attack, who are filing a legal brief in support of the U.S. government to force Apple to act. All right, David, you think Apple's doing the right thing. Why?
Well, let's look at this first. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get this one phone. Farouk had two phones. One that was destroyed, that was his personal phone, and one that was owned by the county, which is what they're trying to get access to right now. The FBI accidentally reset the iCloud password, which would have allowed them access to get to their phones, and Apple actually sent technicians to go and help them. And so since the FBI messed this one specific issue up, they're now requesting that they actually backdoor this one specific phone. Now, one of my friends, Jake, on Twitter, put it in a very easy way. This isn't a master key for just one safety deposit box. This is a master key for all future safety deposit boxes ever made. This sets precedence and would require Apple to start to backdoor a lot of the phones that they make.
But let me ask you this. I mean, my understanding of the judge's court order is that the code is unique to this device, and they're not asking them to write or code. In fact, they say you can keep the phone. We're only asking so that we can preserve the evidence. So, because if we keep trying to break the 4-digit code or go over 10 times, it's going to erase everything. What's wrong with that?
The technique that they're actually introducing to allow them to do that would create a backdoor, or essentially a flaw in the software that affects all iPhones. And it's not just this iPhone, it would be any new type of iPhone here on out. The new iPhones have a new technology called Enclave, which doesn't even allow Apple to get access to them.
All right.
What happens during the next terror situation? They have to backdoor that too.
Let me ask you, why should Apple comply? I mean, I think they should. There's a court order, but aside
Judge,
from
what
that,
I find most disturbing is that the execs at Apple don't understand that we are at war. This is going to be a war unlike any war we've ever seen in the history of this country.
So why is Apple picking to fight this case where the optics are against them? Sure, you can get the millennials to come in and say, I want my privacy. But why is Apple fighting this?
It's mind-boggling. And I will say this to you, Judge, and to Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect. If your name and your family's name and locations were targets on that phone, you would not be talking about privacy tonight. You would be talking about protecting your family. So how about talking about protecting the country? This is one phone. I get it. I get the privacy thing. But how about we're doing it on a case-by-case basis? If there are targets in that phone, if there's critical intelligence information that'll protect the American people, step up to the plate and do what other Americans are doing.
Oh, okay, so here we've got a dead terrorist phone that belongs to the county, that a judge says that Apple should be able to open that 4-digit code so that they can preserve the evidence. What is wrong with that? I know you're going to say it's a slippery slope, but the court order is not to create something that broad. But I want to now call in the federal judge.
It does say that, actually. It does actually say that. What it says is that they have to provide a method for the FBI in order to get access to this phone, which means that Apple, whenever they produce any new security technology in the future, would have to provide a method to get access to phones.
Well, no, it doesn't mean that at all. This is a unique case. Let me go to Judge Stephen Larson, who's representing the family members from San Bernardino. Judge, can you tell us why this is something that Apple should do?
Good evening, Judge. Pleasure to be on the show with you. There's no question that Apple needs to comply with this federal court order. I think there's been a lot of hyperbole about what this leads, what kind of precedent this creates. Law enforcement for years, federal law enforcement has wiretapped. They have gotten court orders to search warrants. We all know what is required for the feds to get an order in order to do that type of intrusive work. It's necessary for law enforcement. It's especially necessary in this war that we're fighting, as our guest just indicated. We need to be able to do it. Does that mean we do away with privacy rights? Of course not. This is a case-by-case basis. And in this case, there is a compelling reason to get the information from essentially this dead terrorist phone that isn't even owned by the terrorist. It was owned by the county of San Bernardino.
Then why did the FBI not handle the actual evidence appropriately and get the backups they should have by not resetting the password? Apple actually provided them step-by-step guidelines of getting this information without having to get the pin off of it, and they botched out on accident.
Do you know that to be the case, Judge?
I do not know that to be the case.
I don't either.
Judge,
it's come out. In fact, the county made an official statement as of Friday, releasing that they were under the guidance of the FBI and reset the password, which caused them to not be able to get this backup in the first place.
Well, all right. Let me tell you what my conversations with the FBI are. And they said, we don't want the code. It'll take them one day. It's 4 numbers. We can't blow it because the whole thing will be erased. And, you know, is it a universal backdoor? No. They're taking the slippery slope to the extreme. And this isn't about privacy. It's about a judge's order that Apple is. And by the way, guys, I think this is going to the United States Supreme Court.
And Judge, I asked that question of you again, Mr. Kennedy. If your family's name was on a targeting list inside that phone, wouldn't you be quick to say, we're going to talk about national security and not privacy? I'd love to hear the answer to that question.
Well, I happen to fight in 2 wars, and I've had a lot of people that I've lost, and I wouldn't sacrifice my privacy and security for those folks that I lost.
Well, for your family, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Oh, stop, guys. Go ahead, Judge.
Nobody's asking anybody to sacrifice privacy here. This is part of the hyperbole I mentioned earlier. This is a unique case involving a unique phone. The FBI is trying to the evidence.
They botched the case. They had the ability to get access to the phone.
Gotta go. David Kennedy, Stephen Rogers, Judge Larson, thanks so much.